So Chris, thanks so much for agreeing to do this.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's super exciting.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. So you're 5 years in the role.
Yep.
Chief Product Officer at Relativity.
Yeah.
What so far has been your proudest moment?
First of all, it's been an amazing 5-year journey, and so I think I'll give you a few chronologically. I think first, when I first joined, we really embraced this notion that we've got to bring up the level of user experience substantially, both immediately and then in an enduring way at Relativity. And so, many years ago, you might not recall, but we launched Aero, the new user interface, and since then we've been obviously expanding upon that notion and simplifying the experience for users. So that moment stands out. Equally, we all ran into a pandemic and some social justice issues and things that impacted around the world. And I was really proud about how Relativity responded in those moments to build programs that not only engaged our employees, but also our community, our partners, and took their strengths to kind of bring them out to the communities they live and work in to help us get through the pandemic, launch programs like Justice for Change and our Fellows Program and other things that have really made a dent. And they weren't by any part from me, but I was really proud of Relativity and how we brought those together with a lot of diverse perspectives to bring them to bear. I think recently, a couple standouts. Review Center as a product, only just thinking about the product development process in the years that we spent learning document review, active learning, what people need in this platform. And I know from some of the product leaders on that product, they spent years learning from our customers and our partners and sort of seeing them realize that vision with Review Center and where it's staging for the future of review and blending in a great interface, human interaction with a great set of AI tools is really remarkable. And I'll give you one final one, is kind of proud of the way our team is bringing some new value to our customers through our Extend products. Most recently, we just launched Contracts integrated into Relativity One. And what I like about that is it's both solving a need around a use case, but we've also changed the way we package it and sell it to our customers. So it's easy for them to consume and get after solving problems for their customers.
Talk about Review Center.
Yeah.
Review Center.
Yeah.
When I saw that, and I don't use Relativity, I run the company. I'm not. I've got guys that do all of that.
Yeah.
But I asked specifically because you were talking about it at a fest in London, and I asked for a demonstration of it. I said, well, how was it never always like this? It's so intuitive. For it all to be in the one place.
I think when you look, when you look back at the industry and how the industry started, even as it matured into document review or linear document review, there's a level of bringing new AI tools to bear to simplify that process or empower the practitioners. But those invariably take a little bit of time to adopt. They take time to build trust. And so oftentimes you're launching a product like even Active Learning, where you're offering it as a second flow or an alternative flow, but you don't have to apply it on all of your matters or all of your cases if you're not prone to do it. And so I think a lot of the innovation in the space first starts as an optional innovation, and then over time we learn, well, this would be much better if we brought it together, if we were more bold with what we're trying to achieve for customers. Now we've got so many people using both linear review, other analytic tools, active learning. How can we bring the process together? And I think learning that takes time, and in this industry, I think it's appropriately takes some time to adopt new technology because obviously the stakes are super high.
So I've got to ask, what was your worst moment?
At times, we'll deliver a capability that doesn't meet our customer experience objectives or goals, and clients feel that. They feel that really impacting their business. And so I think, if anything, maybe in the last year, we were introducing some new capabilities, particularly around our list page, which is the culmination of a lot of parts of our system, and we're really upgrading that to be the future of a bunch of innovation. But I think as we deployed that capability, we tried to give customers some optionality in taking it on, but I don't think we're as clear as we wanted to be, and we've had some hiccups there.
Yeah, because you're famously adept at just putting out products when they're ready to be put out, which brings me nicely to my next point, GPT.
Yes. Yeah.
An awful lot of noise going on out there, and indeed in the UK, people are asking, when are they going to incorporate this into the platform? Some of your competitors have already done so. They're trying to stay ahead of the curve and including it into. Now I know you're thinking about it, and also, off the back of Translate and Text IQ, you understand the science. You're already using large language models, so why is Relativity so quiet about GPT?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we're quiet. The word I would try to lean into is we're trying to be effective stewards of this AI technology for our community, our customers, our partners, and we think there's great power in large language models, and particularly generative AI. But there's also there's also reasons to be a good steward in the type of work that we do. And so a couple things. We have been using large language models for a while. Translate is a good example. But also in our Text IQ products, we use different large language model approaches to deliver outcomes around privilege review, PI identification, and other areas. GPT explicitly, we've been doing a bunch of testing internally, experimentation on how we can best apply generative AI, and specifically GPT through Azure's OpenAI service, to tasks inside of Relativity, most notably identifying responsive documents. We're finding really good results with that experimentation, and we'll be talking more about it at Fest Chicago, our event in a couple weeks now, where we'll talk about some of the products we have coming out in that space. I'll say it's super exciting, but as the power of AI grows, we definitely think about AI responsibility and making sure that we're delivering on that in a good way for our customers in an enduring way. And so while we do see sprinkles of press and things like that, it's not driving us as much as our sort of co-development with our customers. And maybe a last thing on that maybe relates to your first question is, one of the things we do now is almost every great product we're working on in sort of advanced access stages with usually handfuls to dozens of customers that really shape those ideas over time. That both brings their fingerprints into the process, ensures that the product meets the need, and also de-risks the outcome for the entire community. And so we've had some really great help in thinking about the generative AI landscape and products from our customers. And so looking forward to talking more about that in a couple weeks.
So when you talk about generative AI, like identifying relevant documents, privileged documents, those sort of things, do you see a time when document review attorneys will become redundant in this process?
Not in the extent that I can see out in the future. And I'll say, that question has come up even before I arrived, when folks brought initial TAR models to bear and things like that in the space. What I've had the fortune to see over the last few years I've been here, in the diversity of markets we serve, from corporate customers to law firms to service providers, advisory firms, the public sector globally, in different stages. They're all in different stages of AI adoption. They're all in different stages of automation, and they're all in different stages of empowerment. And what I mean by that is, as some of these tools come to bear, while they might automate some tasks you were before doing manually, they're also giving you more capabilities to take on different work, additional work, more use cases for clients. And so what I'm seeing is more and more ways that the whole industry is solving additional problems. Will some steps in manual review be no longer necessary? Probably, but there's a lot of other problems to solve.
What about trials? If the AI is able to read these documents and put relevant documents together, would it not make sense that it can weigh up the case?
No, so I have no, I would say no. And so what I mean by that is, in all of our AI approach, we try to put the humans in control with clarity and control. It's actually one of our AI principles. And when it comes down to the judgment or efficacy of what AI is doing, you always want a human in control. I don't see a situation where when you get to the trial itself, you're looking at AI to make those decisions in absence of juries, judges, and things of that sort.
I've got a daughter. She's actually, today's her first day at art college. And she's very worried about some things like DALL-E and Midjourney and this sort of thing. She's saying, Daddy, this AI is going to take away any prospect I have of ever becoming an illustrator, because look what it can do. Yeah. Somebody recently, when this question came up against somebody who actually lectures on this, they said to me, Matt, AI is not going to make people redundant. The only people that become redundant is people that don't use AI. Mm-hmm. How would you?
Yeah, I think there's two. By the way, I totally buy into that. Is like the more you are comfortable with these tools and understand how they can help you achieve something original, unique, high value, differentiated as an artist or as a legal practitioner, that puts you in a position of control, but more importantly, of value building for whoever your stakeholders are. I think, yes, being adept at these tools is incredibly important for our future. And also, there's a premium on original work and original thought. Yes. And so if you just rely on these tools and don't bring something unique to bear, even if that unique thing you're bringing to bear is wrong, it's still yours. And so I just, as an individual, I have 4 kids as well who are all in different positions of growing up, leveraging generative AI for things and things like that, and I want them to imbue their original fingerprints on the world, not just what ChatGPT spit out. So,
staying on the AI theme, a big worry, of course, is machine bias. It's written by people often from fairly sound, middle class, privileged backgrounds.
Yes.
And a big worry is, particularly in the law, that it will marginalise further those marginalised areas of society. How would Relativity put those guards to make sure that the decisions that any AI is making are transparent and avoid those biases?
Yeah. So a couple things. The problem is real. Is AI and AI models do often leverage training on data sets that have been created by humanity, and those data sets carry the biases that the data sets carry.
And with these things, it's shit in, shit out.
And so again, we've been thinking about this AI space for a while, and particularly our responsibility. And so we put out a set of AI principles that sort of think about the pillars we look at and guard ourselves with internally, but also share with our community openly so they can hold us accountable to them as well. And one of them is around fairness. And so what we're looking at is any AI models that are inside of a product solution that we're offering, we test them, we look to validate them, we're actually checking them for bias. When we do discover bias, we look for ways we can remediate that. We also look for ways we can transparently articulate that either in the product or in the documentation so that the customers know how to best use it. One of the principles we have here is about AI with purpose for solving a specific customer problem. And if we can narrow the problem that the customer is trying to solve, we can build AI explicitly for that problem. And that also helps guard whether you're using it for something that's beyond its stated purpose and also can get into a slippery spot. We published a white paper around our sentiment analysis AI capabilities and product, because early on in the development of that product, we uncovered a fair amount of bias in the model itself.
Interesting.
And so we went through a number of methods to remove that bias while still ensuring that the model and the implementation was powerful enough to solve a customer's problem. A couple things came out of it. One, really good education both for how to run the practice internally. It helped us build a better product, better data sets, better anonymized ways of testing and validating. And also we were able to share that with the community, so I'd encourage folks to go check out the white papers on that. But it sort of set the standard for where we can take a number of our other products, because we're sort of still at the very beginning stages of this, and we hope to continue to be good stewards.
Someone showed me a picture of Henry T. Ford's production line. So a black and white picture. All the people working on the cars as they come down there. Do you know that production line stayed like that, exactly the same, for 13 years? So when you look back over where were we 13 years ago, I mean, the original iPhone had only just come out. So it boggles the mind to think of where, because it's moving at such a fast pace now, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
How do you keep ahead of the curve?
Really fortunate to have a great set of innovators here at Relativity. really every single employee has been part of that motion since the onset, since Andrew founded the company years ago, because it's a tremendous amount of change coming into the world.
Change is only going to get
faster. And it is only getting faster. And the work we do is really important because we sort of serve the bedrocks of the foundations of democracy around the world who rely on common law and things like that. And so I really take energy in the fact that if we're building innovations that reduce friction in this area, it's not just benefiting the parties in that respective transaction, but it's benefiting the system we all rely on, even if you're not working in the legal industry.
So the products that you've recently put into Relativity, I'm going to read this, things like the short message viewer, the review center, Translate. What does the creative process within Relativity look like? How do you decide what is going to go onto the platform next?
I think a couple things. One is we're voracious listeners to our customers and our partners, and that's one thing to say. At our scale, there's a lot of customers and partners, and there's a lot of feedback. So we've actually invested in better tools just to collect all the feedback. We have different service levels to collect it, to draw to synthesize those signals, and they certainly help shape where we invest. We also look at both our market and similar markets at signals that are coming outside. There are things that we have to take a big leap on even before our customers are necessarily demanding it, and trying to synthesize where those investments go. I think maybe third and fourth is we've also built the technical agility, and we have plenty of work to do. But we've built the technical agility to know that to innovate, based even on in the last 10 years that you've talked about, you have to have an engine internally that can innovate with speed, deploy with speed, safely, and continue to do that, because there's no keeping up if you cannot be iterative and agile. And so we've built a bunch of continuous innovation deployment capabilities in the platform, a ton of observability and monitoring and metrics, a ton of ways that individual sprint teams, because at the end of the day, software is built by small teams of 5 to 8 around a box of pizza that can take a set of ideas and deliver them. And so we've built a lot of the infrastructure at Relativity so that we can take all these resources, capital and people, and generate ideas fast in a good way for customers. And I think the last part is we've really take that innovation process and involved our customers. And so I talked a little bit about our advanced access program, but you can think about it as a pilot where we'll have 1 to 10 customers originally really working on the product with us. And it could be any range of products. Today we probably have 15 active advanced access programs right now. We probably do about 20 right now a year. When I started 5 years ago, I don't know, maybe one a year. And so we really have a lot of our development right now informed by customers, and that's another way you can be pretty sure where you're heading.
Primarily what we deal with is litigation.
Yeah.
And litigation tends to happen a couple of years after the fact that they're litigating about, right? Mm-hmm. So coming a couple of years after the pandemic, a lot of the communication, collaboration between companies and people happen on Teams and Zooms. Yeah. Is Relativity planning to have some sort of situation where we can put those transcripts or indeed those meetings within the platform?
Yeah, so I think you're hitting on what are the emerging data types that are the most important potentially sensitive or evidentiary data that you need to bring into a matter to resolve litigation or a dispute. And why would you want to bring that data in? Because it's maybe the most essential to get to the truth of whatever the dispute is. And so our philosophy is we will always build technology to make it easier to bring in that most essential data into the platform. And the reason I say that is we're making a ton of investments to make bringing in short message data into the platform much more easy, because that's a fair amount where much of the important evidence exists for many of the matters, and all customers around the world are dealing with more and more of that data, which is either chat data or mobile phone data or the associated rich imagery or videos that are in that data set or whatnot. But on top of that, and the way we do that is we build integrations directly to those sources over the cloud, or we'll build integrations with folks like Celebrate for mobile data and things like that. When it comes to Zoom and Teams and all this next generation of data, we'll be building tools for that as well. In fact, about 2 years ago, we built a concept of a Zoom integration viewer in the platform. It worked fairly well. And so I imagine we'll be building more there too, because there's a fair amount of audio and video and transcript data coming.
I think so. Yeah. When we look at the competitive landscape for Relativity, and there's a whole bunch of platforms out there, but there's a couple, I won't mention names, but there's a couple that have been on the rise in the last few years that look mainly to not hit your market head on, but to go to those that are maybe perhaps a little bit more tech savvy and can operate kind of a self-serve environment. Do you see a point, particularly as people do become more tech savvy, that will start to eat into your core market? And do you have any plans to develop some sort of self-serve version of Relativity to cater to that market, so you don't miss out and don't get your own market cannibalized?
Mm-hmm. The way I think about it is a couple of ways. There's a fair amount of folks in the market, competitors, that each look at serving different segments, and they all have their ambitions and their values. And so at Relativity, we try to focus on how we can serve our customers and partners the best we possibly can, treat our competitors respectfully and all that, and be humble and stay hungry. I think for me, there's two aspects. Number one is we're constantly investing in our platform to be more accessible and more self-serve. It is true that we've started from solving the most complex cases for customers and that sort, in most advanced areas, but we're always making it easier, reducing friction so more and more practitioners can get in and get value with less effort, less training, etc. And so we've got a whole host of innovations that are around that spot. And the other side is, once the technology is there, we can be more purposeful in going after those other segments in the market that may be smaller law firms or smaller corporations and things like that, and make the technology available. I'll call it a couple practical examples. Privilege review is a product that we've been working on for a while, PI detection, and data breach response. These are all product areas that are AI driven, that we originally built. We originally acquired through a company called TextIQ that originally brought these to market as a tech-enabled service directly for corporations. What we've been doing is investing with them to build these products to be self-service for practitioners to use themselves without our services team, or for our partner community to bring to those customers as well. And so that's just like an example of friction removal, of effectively making those products self-serve, so that they can go from dozens of customers or partners to hundreds, and then provide impact around the world.
So Fest Chicago is just around the corner. Yeah. Now, you're a key personality, always at all the Fest for the last 5 years. What particularly are you looking forward to most?
Fest is... It's such an incredible experience. It's probably, I had the opportunity to visit Fest before I even took the job at Relativity, and it probably sold me on taking the job, just because the community is such a powerful thing that you'd wish for in any job, in any business, in any industry you're in. So networking, meeting all of our customers, our partners, and sharing these moments with them is both educational, it's rewarding, it's exciting, it builds enthusiasm, and helps all of our teams. So I'm excited about all of those things. I'll say what can happen at Fest is, and any good conference, but particularly at the ones we're hosting, is hopefully you'll be challenged, hopefully you'll be inspired, hopefully you'll be curious, and you'll take it home and apply. And so, as I've been thinking about Fest and even my own journey in the last 4 years, and a couple of things I'll be chatting about this year, is all those things can happen, and when they happen together, you're bringing new ideas to the market. And I just think for our whole community, that's a great chemical reaction to foster, because again, we do really important work around the world. We, Relativity, can't do any of it without our customers and our partners, and yet for our partner or our customer to take on the energy and commitment to adopt a new workflow when they're under tight time pressures and deadlines to get the job done they've signed up for, that takes energy, commitment, and a little leap of faith from them as well. And I find that Fest often becomes the catalyst for those chemical reactions to happen. And so super excited about this. Yeah.
Final question I normally ask, is there something about you that you'd like to share that other people maybe wouldn't know? And then I met a chap earlier who tells me you're a pianist.
Thank you for that. What would they not know? So I think I already touched on the fact that, I've got 4 kids. I've got a beautiful wife and 4 kids, and so I don't obviously share a lot of that at work. But they're really a huge part of my life when I'm not here, and I'm training them all up to be e-discovery experts as well. 17, 15, 13, and 10 kids, yeah. Boys and girls.
2 of each?
Yeah, 2 of each, yeah.
Yeah, I've got 10-year-old, 14, 15, 20, and a 28-year-old.
Yes. Oh, wow.
The 28-year-old, I called a boomerang. It just keeps coming back.
Yeah, I'm a little fearful of that too. We make it kind of easy at home. But the part on the pianist is, I'll take that as a huge early stage compliment. I think of my father as that, me as somebody who's been trying to teach myself ever since. Yeah.
You teach yourself.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, really fun.
It's been great chatting to you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.